Following the last episode, the veteran who loves to hum Uncle Sue's story, I continue to share my veteran stories. In my memory, I had a happy and blissful family during my childhood. My father was a military doctor at Taiwan Army Hospital, and my mother was a warm-hearted and cheerful housewife. My older brother was in junior high, my older sisters were in elementary school, my younger brother was still at home, and I would follow my father to the hospital's daycare center to play. Every day, after my father finished work, he would come to the daycare to pick me up. There was a long path from the hospital to our home, with a small ditch on the side. My father always carried me in his arms, swinging me from side to side. Sometimes, he would tease me by pretending to throw me into the ditch. Other times, he would let me ride on his shoulders, and we would happily ride home together. When my younger brother got a bit older, my mother would send both of us to the Nansiu kindergarten at Futainu village. The kindergarten was very fun, and the teacher often let a group of us kids hide under her big skirt, playing the game Eagle Catches the Chicks. I told my brother about it, and he said,
"That stinks."
Our home was very lively back then. Every Lunar New Year, my father's brothers would come to our house for a reunion. My parents always warmly entertained them. My father, who was not yet 40, had a happy family and a successful career. He was full of vigor and spoke louder than anyone else, and his brothers all respected him as their big brother. The most amusing part was that his brothers had surnames like pig, horse, cow, sheep, fish, rabbit, and chicken. As a child, I naively believed they shared their surnames with these animals. These uncles loved us very much. Every time they visited, they brought lots of food for us. We three sisters often sang and performed for them to make them happy. My second sister and I would each take a pair of chopsticks, tap them rhythmically, and sing a song from the movie soundtrack.
In a small town of Mailong, a big event happened. Let me tell you all about it from the beginning.
It made everyone laugh heartily. I also remember a young soldier named Wang Baoxing, who loved to dance the twist and was very good at making people laugh. Of course, the biggest contributor to hosting so many guests was our quiet and hardworking Uncle He. Director, I seem to hear Uncle He calling my father with his thick Guangdong accent. Uncle He's real name was He Guoming. He was from Guangdong and was close in age to my father. He was dark-skinned and thin, with thick lips and a large mouth. His teeth were somewhat blackened from smoking. He was my father's right-hand man and a member of our family. Uncle He's childhood was spent in a small village in Guangdong. His family was very poor, with many siblings, and he was the eldest. Every day after school, he had to help the family herd cattle and cut grass. Although life was tough, he never complained. His hometown was a beautiful place with green mountains and clear waters, and the villagers were very kind. During festivals, everyone would gather and celebrate joyfully. With the outbreak of war, Uncle He had to leave his hometown and join the army. In the military, he worked diligently and became a responsible and dedicated service soldier. Because of his outstanding performance, he was assigned to my father's unit, becoming his capable assistant. They went through many difficult times together and forged a deep friendship. During the retreat to Taiwan in 1949, Uncle He became a porter, carrying 2 bamboo baskets, one with my 5-year-old brother, and the other with my newborn sister and several bags of rice. Later, they took a boat to Taiwan, traveling for a long time on the sea. My older sister's back was badly damaged from being soaked in the seawater that had seeped into the boat. Fortunately, Uncle He was there to help take care of her, even helping my mother wash my sister's diapers in the seawater. Before I went to kindergarten, Uncle He often took care of my younger brother and me. He would tell us stories and play with us. After we started kindergarten, he went to work as a cook for a nearby military unit, so he was not at home often. However, whenever the family needed help, he would come back to look after us. Once, when my parents were both away, Uncle He came back to take care of the 5 of us. At that time, the family's financial situation was limited, and he often cooked inexpensive dishes for us. One time, he dried pomelo peels, fried them, and then braised them into a dish called braised pomelo peel. It tasted pretty good. His most frequent dish was fried rice balls wrapped with carrot, potato strips, green onions, and rice, which were very delicious. Another time, he cooked a pot of fragrant meat for us to enjoy. It was winter, and that evening, we found a pot of braised meat on the table, emitting a tantalizing aroma. We children eagerly grabbed the braised meat and ate it with great enjoyment. Suddenly, my younger brother looked up and asked,
Uncle He, where did this fragrant braised meat come from?
Uncle He smiled and casually replied,
That's Brownie.
As soon as he finished speaking, my older sister's face changed dramatically. She spat out the food in her mouth, dropped her chopsticks, and burst into tears, running outside. We were stunned and didn't know what to do, with only my sister's sobs echoing in the cold winter night. Her sadness deeply affected us, as we realized that the delicious braised meat was our beloved dog Brownie. I also stopped eating, and the fragrant meat no longer tasted good. Brownie was my sister's favorite, a gentle and understanding mutt that was very endearing. My sister would hold and pet it every day, and it would wag its tail in response. Every time she thought of Brownie, tears would well up in her eyes. Her crying continued for more than 2 weeks. Later, we had 2 more dogs, Lucky and Blackie, both of which were also slaughtered and cooked by Uncle He. After that, we never kept dogs again. In my childhood, I once saw my father carve several thin bamboo sticks into flutes and shows to play for fun. Later, I also saw my father use bamboo rattan to weave crafts like fish, lanterns, and small birds for decoration. My father seemed to be capable of anything, even delivering the 3 of us who were born in Taiwan with his own hands. I also remember a few times when I saw my father and Uncle He adding extensions to our house and roof. One day after school, I saw my father and Uncle He laying bricks to build a new kitchen for our old house. To save money, they left a few ventilation holes in the windows. Layer by layer, the bricks were stacked, gradually forming the outline of the new kitchen. They worked silently and skillfully, their actions coordinated and powerful, as if they had done it countless times. Standing by and watching them, I was filled with admiration. Why were these veterans, including my father, so capable? Watching them move bricks, lay walls, and plaster cement, they not only fought bravely on the battlefield but also excelled in everyday life. They washed clothes, cooked meals, treated illnesses, sewed clothes, built houses, and grew vegetables. My father and Uncle He cooperated seamlessly, and the kitchen gradually took shape under their efforts. In addition, Uncle He also helped us raise chickens, ducks, canaries, quails, rabbits, and 2 big fat pigs. Our small Japanese-style courtyard had 2 papaya trees, a guava tree, and water spinach soaking in the rainwater. You could hear the sounds of chickens, ducks, and dogs everywhere, along with the laughter of neighboring children who came to visit, filling the courtyard with vitality and life. After the 3rd grade, I never saw Uncle He again. Many years later, one day, after visiting Tiger Head Plaque with a group of friends, we passed by an orchard on the way back. It was a large orchard filled with papayas, guavas, and star fruits. Suddenly, I saw a familiar figure working intently under a papaya tree. I immediately braked, jumped off my bike, and pushed it towards the orchard. After watching from outside the orchard for a while and confirming that it was Uncle He, I couldn't help but call out loudly,
Uncle He! Uncle He!
I dropped my bike and ran towards him. Hearing my call, Uncle He stood up and turned around. When he saw me standing in front of him, he grabbed my hand tightly and was speechless for a long time. After we calmed down from the excitement of our long-awaited reunion, Uncle He took us to his home near the orchard. It turned out that he had been working in the orchard all these years. 8 years ago, he married a widow with a 2-year-old son, and they lived a peaceful and happy life. He invited us to stay for dinner. During the meal, he asked about our family's situation, feeling very emotional. Indeed, we had lost touch with him for nearly 10 years and missed him very much. The next morning, he came to visit our home, dressed neatly in a white shirt, dark gray trousers, shiny black shoes, and carrying a large basket of papayas. He still seemed a bit shy, respectfully addressing my father as always.
Director.
For decades, he had always called my father Director. My father was also very emotional, his eyes moist as he excitedly chatted with Uncle He. After that, Uncle He started to keep in touch with us, coming back to see us every so often. However, I never saw him again after I went abroad. In the first half of his life in Taiwan, Uncle He silently devoted himself to our family, but his later years were very happy. This scene shows Uncle He enjoying a pleasant dinner with his wife and their 10-year-old son. This scene depicts Uncle He in his later years, enveloped in a warm and loving atmosphere with his wife. The elderly couple sits together, their faces adorned with satisfied smiles, showcasing deep affection and contentment. In another scene, the peaceful home radiates warmth as Uncle He and his wife sit contentedly on their chairs, their faces lit up with happiness and satisfaction. Their dutiful son is by their side, attending to them with great care, reflecting their close relationship. The deep sense of fulfillment and love in Uncle He's later years is palpable. His life concluded happily under the loving care of his wife and son. Among the hundreds of thousands of single nationalist veterans, Uncle He's later life stands out as particularly happy and fulfilling. I hope you enjoyed this story. Next time, I will tell the story of the third veteran, the veteran who abandoned his family to follow the National Army. Uncle Chen's story. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you next time.